Right now, Florida is bracing for impact as Hurricane Milton barrels toward its Gulf Coast.
And this dire warning today from the sheriff in Charlotte County for people refusing to evacuate.
If you choose to stay, find yourself a permanent marker, write your name, your date of birth, and your next of kin on your arm so we know who you are and who to contact. We are not going to put our first responders' lives in jeopardy because you made a poor choice.
We have live team coverage of Milton's track and what's expected to be massive storm surges, damaging winds, and also flooding rains.
Well, we begin with our Christian Benavides in Tampa, where conditions are getting worse.
Joe and Erica, conditions here in Tampa have continued to deteriorate. We are seeing some strong winds, some heavy rain, even though we're still hours from landfall. The outer bands of Hurricane Milton brought heavy winds, rain, and tornadoes to Florida's Gulf Coast Wednesday ahead of landfall.
It's looking like the storm of the century.
President Biden and Vice President Harris were briefed on the storm, expected to deliver life-threatening storm surge to coastal communities.
The hazards are increasing. Depending where you are, it may not be safe, certainly to get on the interstate at this point.
With time running out.
We brought blankets, snacks, toiletries.
About 1,000 people turned up at this shelter in West Bradenton, carrying what supplies they could.
Everybody's worried about the same thing, you know, do you have a home to come back to?
Mass evacuations clogged state highways, with most gas stations in the Tampa area running dry.
I've been here for 38 years and never had one to force us to do this.
We're already seeing the wind picking up, with landfall still hours away. At this point, downtown Tampa looks like a ghost town, with so many people heeding those evacuation orders and moving to safety. But some are choosing to stay put, including this Tampa restaurant owner whose wife and 3 children evacuated.
I just felt compelled to not leave. I wanted to protect our home.
Milton comes just 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene ravaged some of the same areas, still littered with storm debris. State officials say crews managed to remove about half before time ran out and are prepared to respond to this historic storm. Certainly could be a historic storm. For the Tampa Bay area, you got to remember this is an area that has not had a major hurricane make a direct landfall since 1921. So everyone here is just watching those tracks very, very closely. In Tampa, I'm Christian Benavides. Back to you, Joe and Erica.
As Milton closes in on Florida, our First Alert weather team is closely tracking its path.
Chief Meteorologist Albert Ramon and meteorologist Mary Kay Kleisner in the Weather Center with new information just in on Milton's timeline.
One thing Hurricane Center told us about an hour ago is one thing we will see, it'll start to take more of a right turn more eastward and also slow down. And that's what we're seeing happen right now.
We are. When we evaluate the radar, the last 2 updates clearly do show that small turn that would push it into Sarasota County. Now, let's evaluate this and talk about the status of this hurricane. So powerful still. 120-mile-per-hour winds moving northeast at 15, holding true as a Category 3 hurricane. The eye of it is right here. Sarasota, the center of the eye, is 50 miles offshore. So when we stop the radar, you can see those outer bands and the winds starting to move in. Port Charlotte down to the south. Here's Tampa Bay, Tampa, and into Pinellas County. Already a half a foot of rain has fallen around Indian Rocks Beach, Tampa, and even into the northern parts of Sarasota County, where we're starting to get those rain bands in. So flooding issues are certainly likely here from St. Petersburg to Clearwater, and also those winds will continue pushing to the east. So the wind field, Albert, is pretty impressive. By 7 o'clock, we're thinking those hurricane force winds will start pushing on shore.
Yeah, Hurricane Center Mary Kay telling us a couple of minutes ago that tropical storm force winds extend 255 miles out from the center. So we're talking a lot about landfall, and you're right. It looks like Sarasota, it will be ground zero for landfall here in the next few hours. But the entire state of Florida being impacted. Hurricane wind gusts tonight going right across the center portion of the peninsula. Some destructive winds just south of Orlando. And by the time we head into about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's still gusting at hurricane strength on the Atlantic side of the peninsula of Florida. The other threat, of course, is storm surge. The worst storm surge now looks to happen to the south of the center of circulation, to the south of Tampa Bay, around Venice Beach, and also places like Sarasota, anywhere from 9 to 13-foot storm surge. That is salt water above sea level moving inland, and that's all happening now and over the next several hours. We'll come back and get you updated on this developing hurricane as it approaches Florida and talk about our local forecast as well. Erica, Joe?
All right, Albert, thank you.